Hey, good morning. How y'all doing? It is Red Beard, and it is a damn fine day to talk about a book. And today we are here for the December 2024 wrap up, where I show you and rank all the books I read in 2024. Now, I'm trying to do something new here going forward because things that I've read two, three, a year ago, I don't know where they stand up in comparison against each other. I want to really be able to say these are my favorite books and have some sense of knowing that to be true. So if you look behind me and you see, like right there where my finger is, all the way over to You Like It Darker by Stephen King, or there's another one there, but that stack of books there, that is October and November of 2024. The things that I read, and they are in order of least enjoyed to most enjoyed. And I'm trying to do that going forward. I mean, it's going to get difficult as the stack gets larger and larger, but I have my December books ordered, and I'm going to try to slip them into slots on that shelf that and try to kind of measure everything against each other and somewhat be able to do that going forward. So I read 12 ish, 12, I think 12 books in the month of December. Some short ones, some stuff on audio, some of them were King rereads for me. And I'm trying to kind of really um, know where they stand as we move forward. So I'm going to show you the books I read in order of worst to best, in my opinion. I mean, really, it comes down to um, least enjoyed to most enjoyed. And we've talked about this in the past. I'm not very good at DNFing, but I will say that I'm going to try to get better at that this year. I am struggling with Infinite Jest right now. I'm 120 pages in, and I'm really pretty sure I'm gonna give it like maybe one more like half-hour reading session, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna leave that one behind. I mean, I anyway, I don't want to go too much into that. That will be for another video. But from worst to least, the books that I read in December of 2024. My least favorite book that I read was Our Share of Night by Mariana Enriquez. It's my first Enriquez read. I heard a lot of buzz about the things we lost in the fire. Uh, I saw this book. I picked it up in my birthday book haul, like on a whim, because like there was a table with a bunch of horror-ish fiction there. I grabbed this book. I mean, it's longish, 600 pages. Like for me, like the it's more magical type power, type stuff than just like raw horror or the horror themes that I really love. But even if I dug into that, I just didn't like the flow. I didn't like I didn't like much about it, to be honest with you. I kind of dug the first 100 pages, and then it just slogged. It slogged the rest of the way for me. So, but I did finish it. I did read every single page of it. It'll be on my shelf forever, probably. But it was my least favorite read. I cannot remember if I gave it one or I don't think I gave it one. I think I gave it 2 stars. So, but this is my least favorite book that I read in December 2024. All right, my second least favorite. Now, this is a actually hold on, that's out of order. There we go. All right. My second least favorite is The Beast You Are by Paul Tremblay. This is a collection of short stories. There are a couple stories in here I liked, but the vast majority of these I just really didn't get into at all. The title track at the end is a it's an all right story. It's about animals, a la like Watership Down and whatnot. It's anyways, it's told over a period of like 60 years because there's a certain event that happens like every 30 years. So it's told in like three cycles of that. Um, but it's told in the form of, I don't know what he called it. I call it epic poem, but it's long verse or whatever. And I didn't hate that story, but I didn't like that story. There were a couple stories in here that I did like, though. My favorite story in here being, hold on, the last conversation. Is that right? Yeah, I think that's right. The last conversation. But anyways, just didn't really dig it. And here's the deal: I'm a fan of Tremblay's work. I loved A Head Full of Ghosts, Disappearance at Devil's Rock, The Cabin at the End of the World. I recently read Horror Movie. I liked the three previously mentioned books better than that one, but this one for me felt like just kind of a catch-all, like how like after like an artist dies, like their family will go through the drawer and like then release everything that they maybe didn't want released. It kind of felt like that. I mean, it kind of felt like stuff that Paul had done for different like prompts, and stuff really out of maybe the realm of his comfort zone or the comfort zone of his readers, and it just felt like that, this like catch-all of stories that maybe didn't fit anywhere else. And I mean, so much so that one of them, like the story, like because there are story notes in the back, which I do appreciate, but one of them is, he had a picture, like a photograph of like a blue van, and that was it, and that's what the story prompt was. And I get that, I get those exercises to phone fell out my pocket. I get those exercises to, I guess, to get the creative juices flowing. But like for me, I bought this looking for a book of like cool Paul Tremblay short horror fiction, and really it was just a mishmash of different stuff that didn't really turn me on at all. But The Beast You Are by Paul Tremblay. Uh, Third, now this was tricky because it is a beautiful book that I'm glad to have on my shelf, but um, the reading experience of it, I didn't dig really any of the stories. So this is Four Killers. It's a Cemetery Dance special edition. Ray Garton, Brian Keene, Joe Lansdale, Peter Straub, signed by all four. So, based off that, it's probably I don't know, I'm not gonna say five, but it's probably a 4-star presentation, or it's probably still one of my favorite books that I own because it's got those fellas' signatures all in the same place. But I just didn't dig the stories. If I had to pick a favorite from this book, which to be honest with you, that would be hard. It would be the Lansdale or the Garten. Like I got lost in the Straub story, but the Straub story, again, I'm not a big Peter Straub reader. I kind of want to be, or maybe I don't want to be, but kind of would like to. I mean, I've read the stuff he co-wrote with King, and I've read Ghost Story, and I think that might be it. But apparently, the child character in this story is becomes the killer in the novel The Throat. So if you're a Straub fan, yeah, that would be probably pretty cool. But anyway, I got lost in that one. Didn't really care for the Brian Keene one, and so probably the Garden. Probably the Garden if I had to pick one. But I don't know that I'd given any of these stories. They'd probably all be different levels of like 2 to 2.5 stars. I probably wouldn't have given any of these stories three. So that's just facts. But cool book though. Okay, so my fourth book again. This is so that was those are all my 2-star books. I gave all those books 2 stars. I probably I gave this book 3 stars, and the reason I did that was again because it's a cool book. But so we're into the 3-star books now. So I've been doing some Carlton Mellick reads. The next one on the list is The Haunted Vagina by Carlton Mellick. These are fun. I like them as palate cleansers. I like to read these between like bigger, harder books, but like I don't love them, and I'm trying not to make that about the fact that they're short and the fact that they're kind of extreme. I mean extreme and bizarro, and I'm trying not to like let those aspects hold these books back. I mean I'm trying to go strictly on enjoyment factor, but I just don't like love these. Like, for example, Duncan Ralston's Womb. It's a crazy extreme book out there as far as the brutality and the shit that happens and the stuff that he has created in his head in that book. But I loved that book. These just aren't holding up to like that level. They're fun. This is my third read of his, and I just finished a fourth. Um, I'm I'm still on the path to do more. That's my goal, and they but they've all been like every book I've read of his have just been enjoyable 3-star experiences so far. So this is The Haunted Vagina by Carlton Mellick. It's the fourth book on my list. So we go right back to Carlton Mellick. I like this one a little bit more. This one is Sweet Story. More the same stuff about the haunted vagina. Just sorry. Um, I liked it. It was fun. I mean, I read it, single sitting or two sittings or whatever, but just not anything. The creativity is nuts. I give him that. My favorite book of his, which is every time we meet at Dairy Queen, your fucking face explodes or whatever. Like I felt like there was a bigger story there than has been in these two. But anyway, so this is the fifth one. All right, here we go. Let's go into a classic. And again, that's the weird thing about this because I am holding up modern horror against classics. I'm holding up bizarro stories about a haunted vagina against classic horror books. And again, this is solely on enjoyment. How much did I enjoy the read? And that can be for different reasons. It could be because it was funny. I just sat down and had a blast with it. It was the nostalgia of it, like on a King reread maybe, or just the fact that it was a classic and I enjoyed the experience. But here we are, Dracula by Bram Stoker, and yes, I feel somewhat silly holding this book up after showing you two Carlton Mellick books, but I don't love this. I like it. I felt like it was. This is a reread for me. I felt like it was super sloggy in the middle. Some of the best parts that I like about this book, after having reread it, I found are probably from the film. Um, I really like the intro. I really like Jonathan Harker going to Castle Dracula and the horror elements of that. Um, there are parts along the way that I like. I mean, I like the degradation, the decline of Lucy, and how all that comes to a head. But there's just a lot of stuff in between that I didn't really, care for, and the whole idea of like Mina Harker and the somewhat love story between her and Count Dracula. And yes, I know that that could be interpreted as the vampiric hypnotism that she wasn't, but in the movie, in the Bram Stoker, Anthony Hopkins, Keanu Reeves, Gary Oldman, Winona Ryder movie, I mean, she chooses. I mean, she kind of falls in love with, and that part doesn't really exist here unless I just slogged through it and overlooked it. But anyway, it's a 3-star read. I would have told you I've read Dracula and Frankenstein in the last 3 months. I would have told you that I would far prefer Dracula to Frankenstein, but having read Frankenstein for the first time and Dracula um, for the second time, I hold Frankenstein higher. Frankenstein, I like it more than I like Bram Stoker's Dracula. So, next, and again, worst to best. Insomnia by Stephen King. This was a reread. I recently did or finished up The Dark Tower. This book has ties to The Dark Tower. I enjoy this book. It's you've got older people. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. I mean, but elderly people as your main characters in this. I don't not enjoy that, but I also wonder if it would have been, more enjoyable if told from the perspective of like, some younger, more, I don't know, feral characters or whatever, but it's just long and it's too long. I mean, in my opinion, this book is too damn long, but it is, kind of King's look at the pro-life, pro-choice abortion problem. The warring sides in that still are a fucking issue today in 2024. But so it's kind of King's look at that. It's also, I don't know. There's just a lot. I'm sitting here on January 2nd, 2025, after what just happened in New Orleans with the truck driving into the crowd. And I'm thinking about Mr. Mercedes. And then I'm thinking about how King, had to pull the story Rage because it was somewhat inspired the Columbine stuff. And I'm thinking about, how he's written all these things that somewhat then kind of come to pass. But anyway, I'm just saying this book has political connotations and connotations of a plot against this female, like feminist pro-choice leader. And I mean, it's a cool book. But it's just a middle of the road King for me. So this was another 3-star read. Insomnia, Stephen King. All right, so I did The Long Walk. I've recently, in the last year or so, done road work, and I've done The Running Man, and now I've done The Long Walk. I did these in audio. They were all rereads, but because Rage, I'm assuming Rage does not exist out there in audio, because while you can't go out and pull all the back copies of a book, you can stop, you know, allowing Audible or whatever to run the audio. So I'm going to have to physically read Rage in the next couple months. But so The Long Walk, I liked it. I think I kind of loved it when I was younger. It was one of the, I don't know if it's one of the first 5 books that I read by King back when I started with him, but I think I probably liked it a little bit less, now than I did when I was younger. But it's a story of 100 teenage young men that are, they're pitted against each other in a competition of this walk to the death type thing. And so then I got to really thinking about, the Hunger Games and other things like that, where people are pitted against each other in this dystopian competition to the death, and wondered if this was kind of the start of that subgenre. I don't know. There might be other things that did it before, but anyway, I enjoyed it. I liked it. Again, I probably liked it less than I used to. It's a high 3 stars, 3.5. Okay, 3 point or higher, but in Goodreads, I definitely marked it at 3. So that is the tail end of my 3-star reads, and now we are moving into the books that I gave 4 stars to. I didn't give 5 stars to any book this month, so I read Lowlands. If I said Lowlands, Lowlands by Adam Costco. I really like this book. It's kind of science fiction. He meets horror. An apocalyptic event has happened, but it's deeper than that, and it goes to this place of biblical stuff and spirituality, and I just really dug it. It's told in a different way, and I can't remember. Um, the author has some, like, his resume or whatever, his background is like writing scripts for like virtual reality films, I want to say. It might be a little off that, but that's pretty fucking, sorry, pardon my French, that's pretty close. um but this was, I believe, his like first attempt at a novel, or second. I mean, he hasn't written a lot of books, but he's been a writer for this, and you could kind of feel that. You could kind of feel that influence of, I don't know what it would take to write a virtual reality film, but you could kind of feel that in the text, which made it an original experience. But I really liked this book, and I gave it 4 stars. This is Lowlands by Adam Costco. And yes, I get that. No disrespect to Adam Costco, but you're telling me that ranks higher than The Long Walk by Stephen King. Now, this is my list, and and again, pure enjoyment. That's how I'm ranking these things. So, The Corpse Garden by S.H. Cooper. This is a really, really cool short story collection. I've read a couple of other books by Cooper, but it's been a while. And I liked both of those. But I mean, some of the stories in here, like, they're all short. They're all like, let's say 5 to 10 pages for sake of argument. They're all really short. And I would end a lot of these stories with this just this awe in how much depth there was in those 6 to 10 pages. So really, really dug this one. All right, second to the last. So my second to last, so my 11th book in order is A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. This was a reread, but I just really enjoyed it. Of course, read it during the holidays. You know the gist of it. I don't have to tell you anything about it, but yeah, I mean, I just really enjoyed this. I mean, it's a Christmas story. It checks the classic box. It's a horror story, so to speak. It's a ghost story. So yeah, I really a lot of these things on reread have kind of maybe fallen a bit, but for me on this one reread, it just kind of just really enjoyed it. And to be honest with you, I thought it would be a lot. I thought that the language would be, you know, more unbearable than it was. Like I didn't really have a problem at all, like understanding. So it kind of makes me want to go back and I've read Great Expectations, but it was in middle school or high school or whenever they make you read it. I don't remember much about it, but kind of does make me want to go back and read some more Dickens. So my top book of the month was a combo here, Just Like Hell and Mr. Gray. This is two novellas in one by Nate Southard. I lucked into this book in like a lot on eBay. It's out of print and it's hard to come by, and I hate that. I hate reviewing books that are like that because, again, I like if you're interested in what I'm saying and you want to read based off that, I like for you to be able to go pick it up and most of Southard's works that way because the second that I finished this, I wanted to go out and get more Nate Southard, and you really can't unless you want to drop some money on it. But I really like this book. I mean, the first story in here, is a kidnapping torture type story. The second story in here is a possession type exorcism type story, and it was just enjoyable as hell. Like the read of this, it was as far as can't put it downedness. This was definitely the top of the month. So really enjoyed this book. Gonna have my eye out for more. But all of these, yeah, all of these have reviews up. I mean, the short story books all have shorts on shorts. So if you want more about what I thought of each of these, you can check those out. But yeah, so that is the November, no, the December 2024 wrap up. And I'm going to go right here and put them in so that, I'm 48 years old, but my goal is to maintain that and keep them. And it's going to drive my wife crazy that I'll have books shelved in no recognizable order but to myself. But it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of what I'm feeling going forward. So, WRB Beard, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're enjoying all your books as much as I am. If not, you're reading the wrong damn books.